We're live.
Aloha! Hey, everybody. Hi, Ken. Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
We've been talking for the last 20 minutes, so we've really been already together. But I just thought it'd be fun to be, formal and say hi to you guys.
Good morning, Tom.
We've just ruined the magic facade.
Yeah.
So, what kind of facade?
Magic.
Oh, magic.
Like Disney World. Got
Pull back the curtain.
Yeah, behind the curtain.
Yeah. It's like Toto pulling back the curtains on the Wizard of Oz. I remember that. So
I do too. No, it's good.
Anyway, what's happening, Jordan?
Is it Tom rant time yet, or is it?
Let's save that for a little bit. Let's make people stay on to hear my rant. If you really want to hear my rant, let's just tell them that on Sunday I was on our Facebook channel and I went off the rails a little bit, just frustrated with some things that I experienced and a little frustrated with the government. I guess you just started the rant, Jordan. No,
yeah.
So anyway, it's a few minutes, a little bit of a rant, and I just mentioned some statistics and mentioned that I'm not real impressed with our state of Hawaii government and our local mayor. But let's change the topic right now to what's happening. So quarantine. What's the update on quarantine?
Same as last week. It's October 1st is the date. What did you say there? You've heard some rumblings about they're saying that they don't want to extend it any past that, or hopefully, that's
what I heard. Somebody who said, "Oh, I'm connected," which I don't know if they are, said that they really don't want to extend it beyond October 1st. That all being said, I haven't heard any word of any testing. That whole if we get people tested went away. We haven't heard any talk about it. And then just yesterday, they announced that they're shutting Oahu back down. So with that happening, I find it challenging with what decisions they're gonna make. As I've said before, I think that we are being led by fear, which is unfortunate. So we'll see what happens. But right now, they're calling for October 1st. I know I have so many of our clients that are wanting to come out here. Last week we had Sandy, one of our clients who came out. They booked 4 weeks, and they did the first 2 weeks in quarantine. So we're developing. She gave us a bunch of things. We're developing a list of how to quarantine. I know that sounds sort of weird, but there were some great tips that she put in there about making lists and about resources, and knowing that we were able to help them. I was over there dropping stuff off for them just through the process. So but let's talk about quarantine. And we were talking about just before we jumped on the air. Kenny, you're distracted. What's Billy doing?
Oh, sorry. No, my neighbor just started weed whacking outside, right outside
Perfect
my window.
timing.
So like, let me mute. And I just saying to Billy, I was like, oh, this guy.
All right. So, but what we were talking about, and we thought, oh, it's fun. What's your favorite board games? So if somebody's watching, or not if somebody, I see some people are watching, tell us, what's your favorite board games? And, we've, I think there's probably been a big uptick in stock for Milton Bradley and Parker Brothers because they sell a lot of board games. But we found a new board game, which I'll share with you. But Jordan, what about you? What's your go-to board game these days?
I recently just got Yahtzee. Throwback to like way back when. I love Yahtzee, and I forgot how much I love it. And this is also probably news to maybe both of you guys, but so my girlfriend, nice gal, Allie. Yeah. This is a Facebook Live special for you guys.
Surprise! Yeah. We didn't talk about this.
Anyway, no, the great gal Ali, but she's very competitive as I am as well. And so I was like, "Have you ever played Yahtzee?" And she's like, "No." So I ordered Yahtzee, and we have just had the best time playing Yahtzee and going back to the, it's so fun. You're shaking the dice too and rolling.
It's Yahtzee. I love it. It's one of those games that you can win and drink, even when you've drank. Not that I would know. But it's sort of like Bunko.
From experience, yeah.
Well, we used to do couples Bunko years ago, and we had so much fun. People would say, "You play Bunko? Isn't that for older?" They would always show it on TV, the older ladies. It's like, I got to tell you what, we would have so much fun having Bunko parties. By the end of the night, it's a great game like Yahtzee where you move tables, and it's a great way to meet people. I made some great friends with it, and it is definitely a game that. You don't have to have all your faculties to win. So.
Right.
So
A
Yahtzee,
similar
I love
one
it.
to that. Of
What?
my whole family every year takes a trip up to the Adirondacks, and they play this game called Left, Center, Right. Have you guys heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
It's
No.
literally you have 3 dice, and they say left, center, or right, and you start with either 3 chips, or we play with $3, and you roll. And if you have center, you keep all your money. If you have an L, you have to give it to the person to your left, and if you have a right, you give it to the person to your right. And ultimately, what happens is somebody ends up with the full pile of either money or chips, but we usually play it with money. And
Yeah.
I think my grandma knows how to rig the game because she repeatedly always seems to end up with like we're a big group, so like 50, $60, and grandma's
Just
always
cleans
in.
up. Yeah.
Hey, there's something to be said for experience, you know?
Yeah, right.
Something to be said for experience. Go, Grandma, go.
Yeah.
So we started playing this game. My daughter, somewhere we bought it. There's actually 2 games that we started playing, and one of them was Codename, and it's you play with 4 people, and you put these cards on the table, and there's a clue giver and a clue guesser on each team, and you have to figure out like which clues you're talking about, and pick these words. And it's such a simple game, and we had so much fun playing that. And the other one was Ticket to Ride, New York, and it's just it was again really pretty simple. Well, actually, Ticket to Ride's a little bit more involved. You got to have some strategy in that one. My wife had played for a couple go rounds, and then all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, I didn't realize you had to do that." So, but it was fun. So both of those were the 2 games we played. my love game though is Monopoly, but my family won't play it with me because they say I'm a little aggressive when it comes to Monopoly. So.
I have
Really?
Disney Monopoly, and I refuse to play it with anybody because I'm not aggressive at all, and I always get frustrated because people play by the rules so much, and I'm like, come on.
it's just fun. Yeah.
Well, I think maybe
fun.
that's why I enjoy real estate so much. Is Monopoly has been, I grew up playing that game from when I was a little kid, and
That's fun.
if anybody's out there watching and they want to come to Maui and play Monopoly, let me know.
Tom's
There
your
you
guy.
go.
We'll have we ran it a couple times over the course of my career here. We did a couple Maui Monopoly tournaments and had 50, 60 players. It
was
just
cool.
lovely. It was very cool to do that. But the crummy part about it is that I was in charge, so I couldn't play. So that bummed me out. But anyways,
I have one.
Oh,
Oh, never
go
mind.
ahead.
I was going to say
Go
I
for
have
it, Kenny.
one more board game that's a really good quarantine board game, especially, if you're here for 2 weeks and you're with, your husband or your wife or your family. It's called Vertellis, and you can get it on Amazon, but it's less of a traditional board game, like in terms of like competition, and it's got a game setting, but it's all about getting to know the people you're playing with better. So every turn somebody pulls like a conversation prompt, and you have to answer whatever the question is, and they're all just unique conversation prompts, like looking back at the past 12 months, who would you want to say thank you to, or who's the person you're most or like thankful for, or what's your favorite quality about yourself. And then everybody goes around. I like to play it every year at New Year's, but I would think if you're locked up with somebody, it might be a good way to get to know each other better and maybe bridge some gaps in case you get a little.
Yeah, that's cool.
It sounds dangerous to me, but hey.
Every time I play it, it leads to crying.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, in like an emotion.
Right.
Okay. You are not selling me on this game right now.
That's what everybody always says.
Doesn't sound like a Tom game, no.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Vertellis. How do you spell that?
Vertellis.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably good because like a lot of families don't really have deep discussions. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, it would force you to have those discussions rather than, hey, what's for dinner? Or, like it makes you like get out of the box that you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's a nice game.
Pick it up.
All right.
Maybe don't drink though, because then you'll definitely cry.
Right.
Or say the wrong thing. So,
That too.
Hey, Kenny, you were also talking about the rapid test and that the NBA has been using, and sounded
Yeah.
some positive news on that. What was the scoop that you found on that?
Yeah, so the test was developed by Yale, and it's a saliva test. And the NBA bubble has been using it every day, from what I understand. So they have now given it like a rush approval. Can you hear
Yep,
the weed whacker?
just a little
Sorry,
bit.
he just came back. But yeah, they rush approved it, and I think it's being further developed.
Sweet. So it's one of
Yeah.
the saliva test, so spit test, which there was somebody on Oahu. There was a company trying to develop one as well. So hopefully we can get that stuff going so that we can find a way to get our homeowners that own in Maui here and our guests that want to show up here. That would be a great thing because
Hi, Kenny.
bye,
Kenny's out
Kenny.
here.
Kenny must have
No,
just
I really hope they do that too, because you got tested, right, Tom?
I got tested.
I went to the Wailea one. They had the rapid
Right.
testing, and it's so uncomfortable. Yeah, I mean they stick that
Ooh.
Q-tip way up there, and I was like, whoa, you know. So yeah, I'm all for that saliva test.
I'm all for that saliva test too. I thought, that little, they say, oh, it's no big deal, and it's not. I mean, it's worth doing it just to get the results. But man, I'll tell
they
you
go
what,
up there, man. They're just like, ah. Like,
well,
whoa.
and that's what I said. It was 15 seconds, and the gal that was doing it on me was doing a countdown, and at like 10 seconds, I was ready. I would have given any information in my life that I needed to get out of that thing. I said I would never make a good CIA agent because I would have been rolling over in a second. That doggone thing up the nose was like, ugh. Yeah. But my test came back negative. I was at an event where, just to share, somebody was exposed to somebody who had tested positive. They tested negative. I tested negative. But my kids were leaving town to go to New York and Nicaragua. And so I wanted to get tested just to make sure that we were being proactive because they both had to get tested where they were going, and I wanted to be sure. So, and my daughter is back in Nicaragua. It took her 9 sets of itineraries to get from Maui to Nicaragua. They ended up, she teaches at a private Christian school, a missionary school in Nicaragua, and they had to end up they got everybody, 22 teachers and their families got to Miami, where they had to charter a flight and private jet. They flew from Miami or Fort Lauderdale to the Caribbean to stop and get gas. And, as parents, it's like they had to do what? And so they went to the Caribbean, and then they went to Nicaragua, and then they hit weather, and you couldn't get a hold of anybody. So it was a 2-hour flight, and 7 hours later, we still hadn't heard. So we were sort of freaking out. Jeez, but she is there safe and sound, and she is back getting her classroom ready, and she's excited to be able to do that. So we're happy for her. We're sad that she left, but we know that our kids they're adults, and they have to go on and follow their passions, and she sure is. So if anybody, she sent an email and like a newsletter. And I was crying when it was all said and done because it was so sweet. But anyways, enough about my kids. What's happening in the market, Jordan?
So lots of inventory in the market. But I think we touched on this last show or the show before, but residential is really moving. Vacation rental, rentable, or you call it Airbnb.
Airbnb. No, let's say that the numbers we're using are for South Maui, just so people are clear we just like to try to distill it down to sort of this world of South Maui. So go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, there's inventory like we haven't really seen before, right now for vacation rentable Airbnb properties. So there's a lot to pick from, a lot of good units out there. But yeah, the residential has really had an uptick recently. So Tom, did you write down some of the stats, or?
I did. Yeah. So, and it's really interesting. It's, we like to say it's a tale of two markets here. If you say, how's the market? It's like, well, what are you interested in? If you're a buyer and you want to buy an Airbnb style rental properties, boy, I don't know that there's been a more opportune time, because there are sellers who unfortunately aren't getting any rentals and are saying, hey, I need to sell this. So with the rental type properties in the condos in South Maui, that's Kihei and Wailea, There are 195 active properties and 35 pending, which means that there is a lot of choice and not a lot of demand. So if you're looking for something like that in any price range, I think they start probably, Jordan, what do they start, about $350,000 for Kihei base?
Yeah, 375 or so. But the interesting part of that is that under 600,000, which is kind of the really lower end of the market for Airbnb, I think there was 67 or so properties available. Wow. Which last year, you compared that to last year, and there was like 5 or 6 properties.
Not even last year; it was earlier this year, correct?
Yeah, earlier this year. So it's really interesting, and a lot of. Yeah, go for it.
No, I was going to say, so the thing to keep in mind is there's no vacation rentals today, but they're going to get that resolved. And if you can, the value and the opportunity that may exist for some of these units, if you can withstand a month or two of carry cost, the opportunity to purchase may be pretty dramatic. So that's what I say. And when you look at the resort markets across the country, they are absolutely on fire, exploding. So I think it's not unrealistic to think that when the gates open up in Maui, that there's going to be a lot of people coming in here to be buyers. And I also think that when the gates open up in Maui, the sellers are going to be less flexible because they're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know I've said this a couple times already, but it's something I really believe in. And then when you look at the 195 active units with only 35 pending, you know that there are some sellers out there that are raising their hands and saying, pick me, please, please pick me. And so that's something. Now, flip the coin and we start talking about residential properties, and it's dramatically a different story. So residential condos, there's 86 active and 44 of them, and 44 pending units. So that means we're less than 2 months supply. So if you have a residential condo and you've been thinking about selling it, you know what, price it remotely okay, and there's a big market out there for those. And Jordan, you've been selling stuff like that. I've been selling stuff like that. I'm assuming, do you have people looking for product right now?
Yeah, definitely. And the nice part about the residential condos is a lot of times people can't make a certain price point, and they go into it wanting a house, but they realize, finance wise, they can't afford what they want. So the residential condos become a really nice option, under the $500,000-$600,000 price point.
Right. So that's an interesting market, and then we go to the single family home market in the same market areas again, Kihei, Wailea, and it's the same story. We've got 62 active homes and 37 pending. So again, less than 2 months inventory. I right now probably I just put somebody under contract. I sent out hundreds of letters and found a property for one of my clients that wasn't on the market. I currently have 4 more people that are searching for homes in the million-ish price range with ocean views, $2 million, and there's just no inventory. So I think sellers are a little reluctant or don't realize that the market is there, that there is a demand, or they don't want people in their homes. I don't know what it is, or you're just not aware, but there's so much demand for inventory right now. And a unique buyer pool that we're seeing that we haven't seen in a while is those buyers that are moving to these resort markets to live full-time because they can work remotely. I was talking to a friend of mine in another part of the island, and they said they had 42 new students that came in that are going to school here in Maui at one of the schools. 42 students. So people are moving here with their families with the intent that this is where we want to be, and a lot of them coming in from Silicon Valley and those places where technology is not advanced, but where they have the ability to work remotely. And they're saying, hey, we're 2 or 3 hours away. We can get up, work, and have the rest of the day. We can put our kids in school. And Maui is a super safe place. I've heard several people that are buying, and we have a client right now that is buying. They're flying in the day they close, and they're going to come and quarantine in the house. So it's not, I know I've heard that story 3 or 4 times now in the last week, and that's what people are doing. They're just buying sight unseen. And when I say sight unseen, we go through with the video and the camera, and they show the neighborhoods, walk the neighborhood with them on FaceTime or Zoom, and they're making commitments and decisions. And we have had some super happy clients. I've got 3 right now. We're closing in the next couple weeks that are sight unseen. So it's doable. Jordan, you've been doing that too, right?
Yep. I've had a few recently too that it was just all based on video and FaceTime and Zoom. It's so easy now too with our phones and stuff, and you get a pretty good feel for the properties. So
yeah. And you know what? I like to be clear too. When I'm talking to my clients, if I'm going into a property, I'm telling them everything. It's like, hey, the flooring is in bad shape. It needs to be replaced. It's not like
you're not quickly scrolling over.
No.
Oh, you don't want to see that.
Yeah, like the house that we just went under contract on. It's like it's on a busy street, and with the front door open, you can hear it. You can hear that noise. But it's a trade-offs, right? It's like, well, we want to be there. We want a house, and this one gives us the view. It gives us the proximity to the beach, so we'll deal with the road. So we're really clear about all of that. And I think the great thing for us is we've been selling real estate sight unseen I've been doing it for 19 years. So it's not a new technology or anything. It's just I've done way more of it recently, but the skill set required is not that big of a deal. I think it's just creating a relationship and a trust relationship. And part of why we are on this show is that people see we're real people. We have, opinions, and we're going to try to take the best care of our clients that we possibly can. So, any thoughts, Kenny? You're sitting there quiet.
I don't work out in the field like you guys, so I agree though. I do think it's important to show that you're a real living, breathing human, not just a sales robot.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So any other thoughts, Jordan?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I got to run to an inspection pretty soon, home inspection.
How many properties you got under contract right now?
Right now, 1. I closed, there was a flurry of, I think, 3 or 4 properties recently. They all closed, and so I got 1 under contract.
I know you were way
as a resident.
You had a bunch of escrows, and I had only 1, and it's like, I got to get to work. So now we're...
Thomas feeling sad. Yeah,
I was feeling sad. So now
you're doing good. No?
Yeah, we're doing good. It's that ebb and flow, right? So,
right. Exactly.
All right. Oh, and exciting news. Maybe not this week, but next week I'm supposed to have my new car is coming in. I'm excited about that. For all if there's anybody out there that's old car fans, classic collector car fans, I bought a 1967 Chevy Camaro.
Whoa.
So
nice.
Yeah, I'm excited to get that. So I'm a huge. I've been an old car fan for, I don't know, since I was 16. I think when I was 17 years old, I came home one day and I said, "Hey, Mom, can I use the car?" And she said, "No." And it's like, well, why? And she said, "Because I said so." So the next day I came home, I said, "Mom, can I use the car?" And she said, "Yeah." And then the next day I came home and I had my own car, and she said, "Why'd you buy a car?" It's like, because yesterday you wouldn't let me use the car and you didn't have a good reason, so I figured it was time for me to buy my own. So, but that first car was a 68 Oldsmobile Cutlass convertible. So I got the bug of convertibles and old cars ever since. So,
nice.
That's my
when does you should debut it on the show? I want to see
it's coming in. It's supposed to be in October or not September 3rd or September 2nd or September 3rd. So yeah, so maybe I'll show it off on the show. If anybody's an old car fan, give us a thumbs up. I love old cars, so it's my thing. And I haven't had one in a long time, so I'm excited.
Sweet.
So yeah, let us know what's your favorite old car too. If you're an old car fan, tell us if you have one, tell us what you have, post a picture. And if you don't have one or you had one, let us know what it is. We'd love to know. I'd love to know. I don't know if Kenny and Gary.
Nah, whatever.
Jordan says, "Tell me what kind of drums you have, and then I'll be."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
right.
then I'll be in.
All right, everybody. I think that's all I got to ramble about. We need to get Jordan off to his inspection. Congratulations on the sale, Kenny.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day. And,
yes.